If you know me well at all, then you know that I'm a huge fan of the seamlessly online multiplayer experience called PokeMMO. And if you want to learn more about that, I've got plenty of videos talking about what the game is and all of its potential, but today I wanted to focus on something that I think a lot of us have been thinking about. Features we want implemented in this beautiful game. My name is Gentleman Jex, and here are 5 features that I want implemented in PokeMMO. First up, at number 5, I have flying between regions. Normally in PokeMMO, you have to go to a ferry and then have to board it, but of course you have to have 4 badges in that region in order to travel to other regions. But a really nice quality of life update would be the ability to jump from Pallet Town all the way to the Battle Frontier, and then all the way back over to Celestia City. However, this would be fairly difficult to implement as there are different badge requirements to learn Fly in each region, and it's also just implementing a full-scale map would be challenging, so no pressure on the devs. At number 4, we have enabled Nuzlocke modes. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? Well, we've all heard of Nuzlocks, and I've certainly heard of people doing them in PokeMMO as well. But if you don't know what a Nuzlocke is, because I had to learn the rules myself before I did my first playthrough on Twitch with a Nuzlocke, it's essentially where if you walk into an area, you can only catch one Pokemon out of that area, and that has to be the first one you catch, and if any Pokemon faints on your team, they're effectively dead, and you have to release them. So if you've ever heard of a game called RuneScape, which is a very popular MMO, even still today, there is something called an Iron Man mode, which you can enable right at the start of your journey that makes it incredibly more difficult and puts the stakes far higher. And when you do this, there is no backing out. I would like to see the same thing apply to PokeMMO, where it's like you create a character and you say you want to do a Nuzlocke run, well, you better stick to it. There is no cheating allowed. And hey, like if you actually finish it, I think it would be really cool to get something neat on your profile, like a little badge or something like that, because, you know, clout. At number 3, I have the Battle Subway. The Battle Subway in Unova is a lot like the Battle Tower in all of the other regions, but it's like cereal in a mug versus a bowl. It just kind of hits different. Just like the Battle Tower, you move level to level, competing in ever-increasing challenges and trying to get that final reward and beat the boss at the very end. Unfortunately, last I checked, the Battle Subway isn't quite implemented in PokeMMO, but I think it would still be a blast to overcome those obstacles all over again, and maybe even with a friend. And besides, there isn't quite anything that gets the blood pumping just like dogfighting on a choo-choo train. And at number 2, we have the Battle Pyramid. Now, if you spent your time in Pokemon Emerald's Battle Frontier, you know it has all sorts of fun attractions like the Battle Pike and the Battle Dome, and of course the Battle Pyramid, which I'm talking about now. One of my favorites, the Battle Factory, is already implemented and involves you renting out Pokemon to compete in ever randomized challenges, and honestly, it's a really good test of your strategic ability. And as fun as some of the already implemented attractions in the Battle Frontier are, it would be great to see some of the others finally get their place in the limelight in this beautiful mod of a game. The Battle Frontier is arguably one of the hardest attractions you can go to. Essentially, it functions a lot like the Dewford Gym, you know, back over in, well, Dewford, where essentially every trainer you beat, the room gets a little bit brighter, except for unlike the Dewford Gym where there's a clear end, in here you're going each floor in a dungeon. You're trying to find the stairs to the next area. Oh, and let me tell you, the reward was huge. The Battle Pyramid badge was like a symbol of honor. It was a purple heart in Pokemon, and no one I knew growing up, not even my older brother who was a pro at Pokemon, had that thing. And I want to get it now because let me tell you, freaking Brandon, the Battle Pyramid Master, you suck! Anyways, going on to our honorable mention, secret bases. Now, when I talk about this, I'm specifically referring to the Hoenn version. I just remember growing up that when I was playing Pokemon Emerald, because that was my main game growing up, I loved collecting all the plushies and all the traps and all the furniture to decorate my secret base. that was hidden away. I thought it was an absolute blast and a great feature to add. And at number 1, we have the Underground. If you were playing Gen 4 on the DS, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm specifically referring to the times where you were on that bus ride, you know, coming home from school, and freaking Kyle kept stealing your freaking flags. But for those of you guys who don't quite know what I'm talking about, let me explain. The Underground allowed players to explore underground, sell spheres after excavating them, and build really cool bases, and even like interact with your friends. Now, from a programming perspective, as I'm a senior in computer science at my university, implementing this would be fairly difficult, but it's still something that we could certainly request, and if they ever hit any breakthroughs, that would be amazing. The Underground would allow players to experience a far more peaceful endgame rather than the battle frontier or PvP, and perhaps it would even stimulate a new economy with all the spheres and decorations that are included with an Underground expansion. Now, I can't guarantee when we're gonna see those features, however, with enough patience and support for the game, I think that these can actually come about maybe even sooner rather than later. I've been your host, Gentleman Jex. Consider checking out this video right over here and stay classy.